Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have the LEGO Minifigures DFB series, and this is a very interesting case for collectible minifigures because it's not really your typical kind of collectible minifigure theme. This is, first off, I believe this was the first series to have flesh skin tone, so there's that. And at the same time, it's based off of a license that's super completely one-off, and it's a regional exclusive, which this was the second time that they did regional exclusives, because that they had the Team GB series a couple years prior to this, but released in 2016 in May. This was only ever available in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and came out in May and was $2.99 or 2.99 euros each. Series contained a total of 15 players, one of them being the goalie and one of them being the captain, and just 13 other random ones, or I guess popular ones, I don't know, possibly. I don't know too much about German soccer, so we're not gonna, and they call it football, so I'm not gonna be super duper accurate with or super duper knowledgeable about who each of these players are, but we will take a look at the actual figures. Also note that each figure, aside from the coach here, all of these figures each came with a soccer ball, so if you get the full series, you'll have 15. I have 14 in my hand because one of mine rolled off somewhere and I need to find it. But, they're all exactly the same soccer ball, so, I don't think it's really going to make a difference. But, with that being said, let's take a look at each one of these figures individually, so, you can get an idea of what's going on. Actually, there's a mistake. Mistake number one of the video, I forgot to show you this. This shows all their names, so it's a very important cheat sheet for me because I don't know any of their names. Just kidding, I think I've kind of half figured it out, but on the back side, you've got this little idea to buy one of these classic brick boxes. All the language here is German because that's what the people who would have bought this speak, so just keep that in mind. But it shows you this little idea to build a goal and actually be able to play soccer with your figures here, which I think is cool. I think it would have been nice to get maybe just a poly bag or something that was also available in this area that was just a soccer goal. But anyway, back to this series that we have on hand here. Let's take a look at each individual figure. So first up in the series, we're going to go in the order that they're listed on the leaflet, so you can see. First up is the coach here. His name is Joachim Low. I'm probably going to butcher a bunch of pronunciations throughout this video, so just keep that in mind. It's because I don't speak German, and I probably never will. I also don't follow German soccer, and I also probably never will. So, I'm never really going to get the pronunciations right, but I'll do my best. So, this figure here is, a decent start to the series, and the most different of all of them. He is the only figure to not come with a soccer ball, which also made him the easiest to feel. However, since he's not one of the regular players, and he is the coach, he's one of the more expensive / desirable of the figures in the series. Him and Manuel Neuer, the goalie, who we'll see next, are the two most expensive. And you'll notice on the back he has no back printing. It's a relatively simple suit. It's got the, I believe, if I recall correctly, at one point this was reprinted slightly differently with the yellow skin underneath. I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me on it, but I think I remember that. There was a similar blue suit, basically, is my point. But this is exclusive, so, you can feel comforted that you have an exclusive thing here. He also has this little play clipboard. This would show, the play that their team is going for, I guess. Yeah, it's, it is what it is. It's a cool, interesting, different print. We don't have anything else like that really out there. and you can just hold that relatively easily. I like to put it like this so that he's holding it by the anti-stud on the bottom, but he could just grab it by one of the edges. And his face print is pretty good and looks like him if you were to look up a picture. And the hair is not exclusive to this character. It was available here first, and then it also later appeared in the Series 16 Spooky Boy. Now, since we finished our first figure, this is as good a time as any to take a look at the stand that is included with all of these figures. It's pretty nice to get a brand new exclusive print for the stand. I appreciate getting them. The only time before this that they had done a similar printed stand was for the Great Britain series that had a Team GB and Olympics logo printed on there. And then later they ended up doing it again for the LEGO Batman Movie Series 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see it with more regular series or regularly licensed series in the future, that are available worldwide. But, that remains to be seen. Let's move on to the next figure. This is Manuel Neuer, and he is a kind of visually striking figure when laid out with the rest of them because his color scheme is inverted. Instead of having black pants and white shirt, he has a black shirt and white pants. All of the figures in the series do have the official Adidas logo, or Adidas, I don't know how you pronounce that. And then they also have I believe that's the team logo. I could be wrong about that. But he is number 1, player number 1. He's also the goalie, so he has his last name printed on the back. Assuming that's pronounced Neuer. I don't know that for certain, but he's got good side printing on the legs. Carries over really well. You can see the skin tone down there. His face print is relatively simple, but it is, exclusive. I don't know if it captures his appearance. I haven't looked up each of these figures individually, and, again, I'm not going to talk anymore about that. His hairpiece is just this tan, standard male hairpiece used for Chase McCain. However, in the BrickByBrick database, it is listed as an exclusive piece. So I don't know why that is. I think they probably just switched over part numbers, but yes, it is also available in other sets, including with several, or I think all 3 versions now of Chase McCain from LEGO City Undercover. Up next, we have Jerome Boateng, and he is the only one with this reddish-brown color used for his skin tone. So, he's a little bit more unique in the series. Obviously, he has his torso, with his last name and number printed. His legs are also unique to just this figure because of the brown skin tone. Basically, you're going to get similar styles with the rest of them. And the only thing that's really going to change is the expression for the face, which on this figure I think is pretty well done. I like it. I believe, just based on aftermarket prices, that this is one of the more desirable figures. When this came out, this hairpiece was also relatively new. It was introduced in 2015 for Finn from Star Wars The Force Awakens, and, has appeared relatively frequently, mainly in black as well, so it's not super duper special, super duper unique to this character at all, but it is still cool, and it definitely fits his real world appearance. But having different skin tones in the series is nice to see. It adds a little bit of diversity, which is typically not as present, in licensed themes. Usually you have a lot of people using the same standard flesh tone. So, it's always nice to get more different facial expressions, for black people, reddish-brown pieces. And, this hairpiece is good for, people with this kind of skin tone. It's cool to see. It's a pretty decent figure, and also I believe that this is the first time we got these arms dual molded that way. So, another cool little thing. Here we have yet another unique skin tone. This one is more like a Hispanic-looking skin tone. I don't know anything about Mats Hummels here. That's his name. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what you know, what race he is, but you know, the colors for him look pretty good, and particularly in this series where a lot of them do use standard flesh tones, the ones that don't, you know, kind of stand out just a little bit more. And there are 3 figures in the series that use this skin tone, so, you know, obviously 3 of them are going to have this printing on their legs, so that's going to remain common between all 3. Obviously he has his number, he's number 5, and his last name is printed on the back, and his facial expression is pretty nice. It has a little bit of facial hair, and I don't know, I particularly like this facial expression. It looks a little bit weird to me, at least my copy. I don't know, something about it just feels a little bit less Lego, just at very first glance. I think it's the skin tone, because, you know, if you've noticed, knockoffs don't always have exactly the same skin tone. Sometimes it's a little bit off flesh. I think that's what's throwing me off. I could be wrong, but, you know, basically I think it reminds me of the one Simon Masrani knockoff that I ended up getting in a bulk lot. It's not, this is a legit piece, but I don't know, it just bothered me that way. For some arbitrary reason. The hairpiece, I believe, is exclusive on Brickset. It shows up as exclusive, and I can't recall another appearance of it in black. You know, I think it was new for this character, right? Possibly. I don't know, something about that. It's a relatively uncommon piece, and I believe this is the first time I had it. So we'll leave it at that. And here we have Benedict Howard. He is next up on the list. He's number 4. So, you know, you can see that's how you spell his last name. He is back to the standard skin tone. His facial printing, I like quite a bit. You know, it's, again, a cheerful expression. His hairpiece is the same that they use for Newt from Fantastic Beasts. The colors slash just surface finishes feel a little different. I compared them because, again, Brickset does say that this is exclusive to this series, which it isn't, but, you know, it's it is what it is. It's still a cool piece to get, and this was, I can confirm 100%, the first appearance of this piece, so, you know, it's cool. Again, I really like this figure. It's one of the better ones. Some of their faces, which we'll get to later, aren't, you know, just kind of feel a little off, but this is one of those ones where, I don't know, it's nice and cheerful, and it looks good, and I'm happy with it. Up next, we have Squadron Mustafa. This is one of the stranger names in the entire series. It's a little bit odd. I've never, you know, seen anyone with that name before, so I don't know how you'd pronounce it. But he's number 2, and, you know, his torso is obviously otherwise the same. Again, I do want to point out, just down the center, you've got that little bit of weird, kind of metallic silver striping that just kind of gives it a little bit of a cool, cool look. His facial expression is nice. I like the facial hair on there. It gets a good look across, and, you know, it's got the nice kind of more relaxed smile. I do like this hairpiece a lot. I'm fairly sure, again, that this is the only time we've ever gotten it in reddish brown, which is a good color to get it in, and very useful outside of this figure. So, you know, he's cool. I like this guy a lot, mainly because of the name. But, you know, overall, the look is really good. Next up, we have the Captain Bastian Schweinsteiger. It's a complicated last name. You can see it on the back there. It's one of the longer ones, takes up the entire torso, and I think, no, I guess it is the same font size. I guess they didn't have to shrink it, but, you know, it's a mouthful. He's number 7, and he does have pretty much the same torso, except one of his arms has this German flag insignia armband printed on there, and I can't tell what that says. Spielführer? I don't know if that means captain. I'm not sure, but this band does signify that he is the team captain. His face is one of those ones that's not my favorite in the series. It looks okay. I don't know. He looks a little old, and, you know, I did Google this guy at one point. It doesn't look exactly spot on, not as close as some of the others. it's not bad, and you know, it's cool to get more facial expressions still to, you know, make a more diverse environment. But you know, it is what it is. Just not my favorite in the series. The hairpiece though is nice. I like that. It's a relatively uncommon color. I don't know if it's been reused in tan. It was either tan or dark tan that they used in Assembly Square, but you know, it's another good figure, and I'm happy to have it here. And also the addition of the armband insignia and a little bit of extra detail that isn't present on some of the others, so that's cool. Next up we have Mesut Ozil, and this was actually the only name in the series that I'd actually heard before, so I kind of half recognized it. So I guess he's probably well known if I know about him. I don't know how I know about him, I just do. So, you know, there's that. But he's another one of those figures that has a different skin tone. And again, it's a good design. I like the facial expression on here. It's, you know, he's got a little bit of the facial hair there. You know, it works. It's nice to get more prints in this skin tone. The legs obviously are the same, and the back has the last name and the number 8. And his hairpiece is the same that is used with Superman in the Batman vs. Superman sets, which was where this piece first was used, the whole element. So, you know, it's one of the more common colors for that part, but still, it's not ridiculously easy to get, so it's cool to get here, and it does fit this this person. It looks like them in real life. Next up we have Thomas Muller, or Muller, or Muller. It's got the 2 dots on top of the U, so I don't know how you pronounce that, but he's number 13, lucky number. He's got the same standard skin tone, and he has this dark tan spiky hair, which only otherwise appeared in the Series 16 Hikers, so this was a brand new color for it at the time. This is one of those faces where, I don't know, it just looks a little bit off to me. So, you know, it's still cool to get, an exclusive face print, and I don't know, maybe this guy's like a really happy guy, so he smiles a lot, but I don't know, it's good. I would not label this as one of my favorite figures in the series, but you know, it's not a bad figure by any means. Next up we have Toni Kroos, spelled Kroos. And that's only important because we have another Cruz in the series, so you know, you could confuse the two pretty easily. They're just spelled differently. He's number 18, and I think he's one of the more common ones in the series. I remember there are always 3 that you see being sold cheaper than the others. Those 3, 2 of them are coming up shortly, but you know, this is one of them. He's actually a really cool figure though, because he uses Emmett's hairpiece. This is the first time Emmett's hair was ever recolored. This is in the medium nougat. It's cool. I like it. I like being able to get that piece in different colors. And the facial print on him is not bad at all. It feels relatively standard. You know, pretty much generic enough to fit into any sort of flesh-toned city. So, you know, I'm happy with this this figure, and this is, I think, one of the standouts in the series. Ooh, look, next up is the most common figure in the series by, or the cheapest, easiest to get in the series by quite a long shot. This is Sami Khedira, and he uses a relatively standard common hairpiece, which is this, you know, kind of pointed towards the front in black. It's not a hard piece to come by. It is the only time this mold is used in the series, so it's actually possible to feel this guy out. You'll notice some of them who have the same hair pieces. For example, you know, this guy who we haven't seen yet, and Mustafa, they have the same hairpiece, and they both come with just soccer balls and accessories, so you cannot feel the difference between them. This one you could slightly. It's still hard, and most people didn't bother, but, you know, it is doable. I like his facial print a lot. It actually reminds me of Bodhi Rook from Rogue One. So you could potentially use this as an alternate expression for him. Obviously, his is still different, but you know, it looks good, and I like getting a nice beard that's fully grown in on this skin tone. It's good to get. And again, I am happy with this figure. It does feel like it's one of the less valuable ones, so I don't know if that hurts my opinion, but this is not one of my favorites in the series, I don't think. And here we have Andre Schurrle. I have no idea how to pronounce this. Schurrle? That doesn't sound right, but that's the best I've got. He is, again, the third one that I was referring to as being one of the more common ones in the series. I like him quite a bit, actually. His hairpiece also appeared on Kevin from Ghostbusters and one other figure that I can't think of. It was in some random generic set. But it's a cool hairpiece to get in this color. I like his facial printing. It's good. I like it. And obviously you have the printing on the back with his name and the number 9. It's a good figure. It kind of feels like one of the more standard out of the series, but again, it's by no means a bad figure. It's kind of, a lot of the figures are going to feel relatively similar and standardized, but you know, there's not a ton you can do about that. They are, after all in the same uniform, so you know. This is Marco Reus or something. He's number 21, and his facial print, the mouth on there, is a very unique expression. Not something you see very often at all, so that's cool to get. It's not my favorite looking face. I don't know, the art style feels just a little bit different, but it's still good. This hairpiece, I think, is exclusive or very uncommon. I believe it was new at the time. So, you know, it's a cool thing to get. He's not my favorite looking of the series. A lot of this will come down to personal opinion, unless you actually like and follow German soccer, or German football, I mean. Then maybe you'll have personal preferences based on the players, but, you know, I'm happy with this, and it adds to the overall look of the team. This here is Christoph Kramer. He's one of my least favorites in the series, just because, I don't know, his face doesn't feel right to me, I don't know. The hairpiece was also used on Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 sets, and Owen Grady in Jurassic World 2 sets. You can see his last name on the back, he's number 20, and, you know, he's, again, not bad, but, I don't know, the face is just a little bit weird to me, so, again, not my favorite. Next up we have Mario Gozzi. He is number 19, you know, has the same legs and arms. He is one of my favorites in the series, mainly due to his hairpiece. In reddish brown, it was brand new for the DFB series, and it has not been reused since, so this is the only way to get it. He's not a particularly expensive figure from the series either, so it's, you know, not too bad, but the facial expression is also pretty nice. I like the little bit of facial hair around the mouth. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of the better figures in the series, I think, at least in my opinion. So, you know, I'm very happy with it. And last but not least, we have Max Cruz, spelled Kruse, so different from the other. It is, or he is number 23, and has the same legs, and, you know, same torso design from the front. The hairpiece is in dark tan, and it is that Star-Lord Superman hair. You know, it's a good piece, and dark tan isn't the most common color for it, so, you know, again, nice to get. His facial expression is not bad, but it's one of the ones in the series, like Kramer and, what's his name? Reus and Muller, that aren't my favorites. Again, it's an interesting, different facial expression. I just personally don't think it looks phenomenal. But, you know, it is still not an awful facial expression, and this has been a common theme. I don't think any of these figures are bad. I just think that there are some that are, you know, that stand out slightly more than others. So, you know, this is one of the ones that's kind of whatever. So that's been a little look at the, DFB series in its entirety. Again, remember that you're going to have a whole massive load of soccer balls, more than you'll ever need. You'll never run out, if you get all of them, obviously. I just don't have them all shown here because my floors aren't flat, so they'll just roll away like that. But overall, I'd say there's a decent amount of diversity here amongst the figures. Obviously, yes, they're all supposed to look like they're on the same soccer team or football team, sorry. So there's not a ton of variation in the appearances of the characters, but for what it's supposed to be, I think that they picked a good selection of players. There are no two players here that look really similar. I'd say probably the closest two are Marco and Tony, Reus and Cruz, right? But even then, they're not super similar, so that's a good thing, I think. I've arranged it here as kind of these three in the front. I would say are definitely the highlights of the series for being the most different. These over here, it kind of goes in this direction, basically. From my favorites to least favorite, this group of 5 is, probably my 5 favorites of the regular players. Then these 3 in the middle are kind of, they're good, but they're not my favorites. And then over here, these are, I think, the least impressive, but even then, none of them are bad, per se. I don't think that, unless you are a collectible minifigure collector, or a kind of a German soccer fan, I don't think it's super duper important for you to get the entire series. I would recommend maybe get these 3 here, and then pick some that have some parts that you like, or ones that just look cool to you. I don't think it's necessary to get the entire series. Currently, I think the whole series you could buy for around $100. On average in the US. Each of the figures goes for, between 5 and 10. Like Sami Khedira, Schurrle, and Tony Cruz are the cheapest, I believe. Prices might have gone down since I did get those 3. Those were some of the first ones I got. So prices might have changed a little, fluctuated. But, for what it is, I'd say that this is a cool, interesting, different series. I'm glad they tried something different. The regional exclusivity makes it kind of cool, and I'm glad to have it. But I'm not going to say this is a great CMF series and you should go out of your way to get it. I think it's more of a collector's item, and for that, I'm pretty happy with what we get here. So, those are my thoughts on the LEGO Minifigures DFB series. Very cool series to have, I think. Final thoughts, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below. If you'd like more collectible minifigure reviews, I own every series to completion except for Team GB and Simpsons Series 1. And I'm missing one Series 1 collectible minifigure, but I should be getting that soon, hopefully. Also, if you count the Unikitties, which I count them, but I don't want to. Yeah, I have yet to get them all yet. So, if there's any series you'd like to see, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.